Hey guys, welcome to Alex and Andy Live with Shanghai Daily here coming to you from a bit of a grey and dreary day here in Shanghai, China. The weather at the moment is 19 degrees Celsius, precipitation, a wind of 6 kilometers per hour, and it's about 66 degrees Fahrenheit if you're that way inclined. Now, just a quick update on the news today here in Shanghai and what is coming up on today's show. We have the latest numbers, a bit of bad news, but hopefully all right in the long run. 88 new symptomatic cases and 770 new asymptomatic cases, but 3 new community infections. Our colleague Yang Jian is going to tell us all about that very shortly. It was a middle-aged couple and their 21-year-old son who returned an abnormal test during a regular nucleic acid screening in Zi'an village on the outskirts of Qingpu district. In other news, China on Mars, the Mars rover Zhurong has been switched to dormant mode while waiting out a dust storm on the surface of the red planet. That's according to the China National Space Administration today. We also have another episode in our new series, episode 2 on Away from Home. This one is about some truck drivers who were stranded on the highways surrounding Shanghai for quite a long time. We also have another video about police officers helping out, doing their job basically, around Hongqiao railway station, where a lot of people are trying to get out of town. So yeah, it is Friday, 20th of May, 2022, and my co-host Alex is here as well. Alex, how's it going?
All right, another day, very rainy day today. Obviously it's May 20th, which is kind of a special day in China for it's sort of like a gimmicky Valentine's Day sort of thing, but
yes,
not the real one. But in any case, yeah, it's just been kind of a dreary day today. Sort of waiting for it to get hot. I think usually by around this time of year, it's really starting to heat up. And we had a few warm days really at the beginning of lockdown, back in late March, early April, but we haven't had a whole lot of heat here. I guess the dot by the people in the Baymax suits, they'll be happy. They're happy so far that it hasn't heated up, but I don't know how much longer that'll last. I do anticipate it getting warmer here before too long.
Yeah, definitely. I think I haven't really noticed because we've just been at home. Normally, I really notice the heat when I'm outside walking around, getting to work, going to a job, doing filming, whatever. But sitting at home, I haven't really noticed it, which I welcome because, like you, I really don't like the heat.
Yeah.
We have some comments about what Alex was mentioning today is 520, which sounds like 我爱你, I love you, 20th of May. So that is, like you said, Alex, a gimmicky day, really, for people to buy gifts and stuff. I think that is happening here in Shanghai today.
We have there are lots of these holidays that in China has a lot of them, even more than in the West, and there's a lot of them in the West, and they're these sort of gimmicky shopping holidays that are basically just invented to get people to buy stuff. And like you have the 11 Shuangshi, which they originally started was Singles Day because of 1111, and then now there's 1212. It's just an excuse to get people to buy stuff, but hey, whatever works.
Design.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you, Andy. But it's 19 degrees Celsius, which is about 66 Fahrenheit. So that's kind of, just sort of in there in the middle weather-wise. But yeah, rainy and dreary today. It looks like tomorrow, though, the temperature is going to rise a bit, partly cloudy tomorrow. So I guess that's good. I know a lot of people, as we've been discussing over the last few episodes, are preparing to at least be released or have already been released from their compounds and can travel around their sub-districts, which is just an area of a few blocks by a few blocks. So it's definitely far from actually being out of lockdown and back to normal. But it's true that some people are able to go to supermarkets and places like that. Now, for me personally, not quite yet, but we're waiting for it to happen. Not quite sure, don't have an exact date about when we'll be able to go out and about, but hopefully the weather will be nice when we do. I still can't quite hear you very clearly, Andy. You got that. I'm not really sure, but yeah. So obviously, so we've got. If you could put up the numbers quick, I guess we can talk about those just for a minute before we talk to Yang Jian. So yeah, we've got the numbers are slightly up today from yesterday, although still far down from what they were in weeks prior. 88 symptomatic cases plus 770 asymptomatic cases, as we mentioned, which is a little bit higher than it was yesterday, but not by much. Still in the 3 digits instead of 4, and then obviously we were at 5 digits daily a few weeks ago, and 3 community infections. And so we're going to ask Yang Jian when we get him on the line about what that means for the situation in terms of us getting out. Obviously, the government had pointed to 0 infections at the community level, which they defined as being out of quarantine or being yes. Hi, Yang Jian. So Andy's got a little bit of he's breaking up a little bit right now. So I will just ask you the questions today. How are you today, by the way?
Just fine.
Just fine. Another day.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So everyone, if this is your first time watching, this is our colleague Yang Jian, who is in the press briefing with the officials, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what's happening with the situation here in Shanghai. So I wanted to ask you about first thing. It says after 5 days of having 0 community cases, as I was just mentioning, we did hit a small bump in the road with 3 cases yesterday. And I think what we all want to know is, what does that mean? Is it going to slow down our going to be able to? What do you?
Okay, actually, the 3 new community infections come from a family in a precautionary village in the outlying Qingpu district. And it is the first time that positive cases were detected at the community level after Shanghai announced to achieve the citywide 0 community transmission 2 days ago. And the new infections, the family, they had not left the town in the last 2 weeks and only visited a restaurant, 2 shopping complexes, and a supermarket. And so far, all close contacts and other related residents in the same town have tested negative. And the village has 53 houses built by the farmers themselves, and it has become the first medium risk area since the cities faced the lockdown. And the Health Commission officials said the low, medium, and high risk areas will be relaunched from now if any community infection was found in the precautionary areas, which is actually a good sign that the city is returning to the normality COVID prevention and control. And meanwhile, several other districts have also seen a new round of COVID resurgence in the locked down areas, such as Yangpu and its neighboring Hongkou district, which brought up the city's daily infection number by around 20% today. And the Hongkou district just released an urgent notice in the afternoon. It announced that all passes issued to the precautionary citizens become invalid, and all reopened supermarkets and stores will suspend operations, and everyone must receive a PCR test for the next 3 days. So like the Health Commission officials said, Shanghai is still facing great pressure to reduce the number of new infections and prevent resurgence. But the new community cases have not affected the process of Shanghai's gradual open up. The city officials announced today that downtown parks will gradually reopen from June the 1st, and more local wet markets will also restore operations. And the city's public toilets are also being reopened. And even in Qingpu district, where the new community infections were found, the progress of open up has not been affected. And in the district, over 100 supermarkets have reopened, along with some hair salons, and the bus lines will also be restored soon. So the new community cases might just become part of the city's post-pandemic normality, and because of the features of the Omicron variant. And what is more important is the fast response and a very mature process to put out any COVID resurgence immediately. And the city's health commission official has said in case of any resurgence, the epidemiological investigators will conduct on-site investigations within 2 hours and quickly define all the close and secondary contacts with the help of big data analysis to cut off the transmission immediately, which is also the core meaning of China's dynamic zero COVID strategy, Alex.
Yeah. So it seems like just the people in this village will be affected. It's really unfortunate for them, but it seems like it shouldn't affect the rest of us too much. Okay, so some detailed information was released today about the gradual reopening of the metro system, or at least 4 of the 20 lines of the metro system, as well as 270 plus bus lines. Has the government said anything about the specific requirements for using the metro and the bus lines that reopen?
Yes, the city's transport authority today officially announced that the 4 lines will restore operation from Sunday, but only between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. every day. And during the security checks, every metro passenger must scan the venue code at the metro station, and they also have to show their greenhouse code along with a 48-hour negative PCR report, which has been displayed on the same page of the health code for the convenience of inspection. And metro passengers, of course, they must wear a mask, receive temperature check, and maintain a distance from other passengers, both in stations and carriages. And the city's metro operator said the line's operations might be subjected to some temporary adjustments currently, such as escaping a station or evacuating all passengers. So metro riders should ensure additional time for their travel. And also the list of 273 bus lines have been publicized this afternoon, which will resume operations also from Sunday. And I think the most important part to our readers is it includes 8 airport shuttle bus lines to the Pudong and the Hongqiao international airports. So travelers will have multiple transport options from Sunday to reach the city's 2 airports. And passengers of the airport shuttle bus must show the air ticket of the day, along with the 48-hour PCR test report. And if they are to leave Shanghai, they must provide the 24-hour antigen report or the 24-hour PCR report to take the airport bus. And apart from that, the rest of the first batch of restored bus lines, about over 200, will reach the city's main hospitals, and the 19 other lines will connect the Shanghai and the Hongqiao railway stations, and over 13 lines will link the metro stations of the 4 restored lines. So apart from mask and temperature check, firstly, we need the 48-hour negative PCR report, which is mandatory for both metro and the bus, and along with the greenhouse code. And secondly, passengers must scan the venue code. The official said so that the epidemiological investigators can quickly trace the transmission in case of any infection was detected. And the passengers to take the airport bus lines must have the air tickets along with 24-hour antigen test report if they are to leave Shanghai, Alex.
All right. Thanks, Young Jan, for that information. We appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you again tomorrow.
Okay, see you.
All right, see you. Thanks. All right, so it looks like there's a lot of good information there from Young Jan. Again, as always, it looks like so riding those subway lines 3, 6, 10, and 16, to reiterate that point, will be opening up. It seems like if you're going to want to get on those lines for whatever reason, you're going to need to make sure to have a 24-hour PCR or antigen test. Looking at the map here, line 3 is the yellow line that loops up and around. And then line 6, if you look on the east side, is the sort of fuchsia or magenta colored line that's entirely located in Pudong. Line 10 is the lavender line that runs from the west. It's out in, it starts out at Hongqiao Railway Station and goes through the east and up to the north. And then line 16 is the bright green colored line in the southeast and the southern end of Pudong. So if you live in one of those areas or along one of those lines and plan to use it once it reopens, if you're in a precautionary area and can get out of your compound, if your Juehui allows you to do that, then make sure to get a PCR test and have that code ready and have the test results ready to show, because they will be looking for that. All right, so on to our first video today. Andy was discussing before, we started a series yesterday called Away from Home, and it is talking about different people in the city that have been stuck in a bit of a difficult situation during this lockdown. And a lot of them have been sleeping in their vehicles and doing different things. And today we're going to talk about some truck drivers, some long distance truck drivers who the lockdown has left them unable to return to their homes and sort of stuck in limbo for a little bit. Some of them have been sleeping in their vehicles, cooking meals roadside, drinking water even from fire hydrants and other really tough situations like this. And so these drivers who have been essentially frozen in place for 50 days by zero COVID tolerance policy, we made a video here at Shanghai Daily, and we're going to learn a little bit more about their personal stories and how they have been affected by this situation. So have a look at this video, and then we can talk about it a little more afterward. Got it?
那个咸菜豆腐，就吃那个。咱现在也没要求，就是弄熟就行。平时也用不着做饭，也没这特殊情况。你就是早点晚点都有饭吃。你现在它是真没有。
这就是他们抽烟用过的，就是然后有这个疫情给封到这控制这里。刚一开始说的就几天，4、5天就可以了。3月26号晚上到这个码头上面卸货。今天中午吧，上午我们家里人家打招呼，有的人才知道。看那里咋回事？是不是上海封了？你也封到那里回事？
好了。 我就是在我们家那一带，河北沧州，远的地方200多公里。那个以前最长一次，我感觉有7、8天吧。长这么大也没有离开家这么长时间过。看我们这天天，你看那边还是我们吃饭在那边烧柴火。
你们挺讲究的。
那你出来车上，你吃的跟家一样你。
我们是1个星期做一次，你没有核酸是通行证过期了，然后核酸这做了它又有了，他那个核酸他的通行证是跟着你核酸来的，你核酸过期了，通行证没用了。
家里面就好，我们都说着，也就是报个平安，不给他们讲这些事，怕他们担心嘛。6号的时候吧，有的家人没吃的了，就是真把垃圾桶有，真有。 中国时间长，你到别的地方买东西，我们出去也去不了。 也算没挨饿，没饿到。啊，就吃吧，大家。
今天中午下雨了，没吃。在那个小灶上面做饭啊，下雨它做不了。就是一开始这个马上没有东西吃了，就是买了一点米，到了那个几号呀，没有东西吃了。后来，有人是联系的爱心。
刚好封的时候，我们就封到这里了，没有出去。你看车门上没有贴上封条，他们车上贴封条呢，就有的出去了，就是车上贴的有封条。我们核酸啥都是健康的，你说再不让我们下车，是吧？这一趟要跑得远了，就2天3天，你说咋弄？就是这个驾驶室就这么大一点空间，你要吃喝拉撒都在里面，也是难受一点。
这条件还不错吧？
今天晚上随时加餐。
今天这个菜是朋友捎过来的。
那他从哪里送过来的？我100多公里送过来的。
你来的也是时候。
刚好今天加个餐。你疫情防控没错，但是有些说人性化这个管理啊是不对的，知道吧？你像吃的喝的，有些我们去那地方就没有吃的喝的呀，我得看他厂子理都不理你。没有核酸，你下不了高速，又掉头回来。回来你到哪？你说高速公路到哪去做核酸呢？没有地方做核酸，你怎么办？你所以说下高速给转。对呀，你上去再下来，下来再上去，就这样。来，明白来，1、2、3，开。谢谢，张总，谢谢，感谢张总，
Oh, I don't know if you can hear me now, Alex. Can you hear me?
You're back.
What a drama. Hey, I didn't get to see, sorry, my internet was really bad. I didn't get to see the video. So can you talk about it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, parts of the video were a little choppy. It really got going really good. It looked good there at the end. Hopefully, maybe we'll have the chance to show it again another time soon, so that we can sort of get it in its entirety. But I think our viewers caught most of it and got the vibe of what was going on. Obviously, the story of a bunch of long-haul truckers who are stranded right at the borders in Shanghai, and are unable to get back home. Most of these guys are not from here in Shanghai. They're from other parts of China. The one man said he was from Tangzhou in Hebei province, which is up near really close to Beijing up there. So definitely not from this part of the country. And obviously these guys are really having a tough time in terms of getting supplies. They have to have a PCR test in order to get anywhere or do anything, which sometimes is difficult for them to obtain, testing results and things like that. So really it's a very tough situation for these people. Obviously, we talked about yesterday, truckers are really kind of the backbone of the logistics in any country or city. And it's really tough to see that they have to go through this kind of situation, given their actual importance in terms of getting things from here to there and anywhere in the world, and just sort of the tough situation that they find themselves in right now.
Yeah, I think this is all a testament to zero COVID. The situation has to be so strict that a lot of people just end up stuck in limbo. When you look at the larger picture, though, most people wouldn't be stuck in this situation, but there are still some that we're seeing here. And as Andrea Matthews said, these guys live on the road, so a couple of days is usually fine for them. But this long is ridiculous. I can't understand why they were not being helped. I have to agree there. It looks like they're prepared. They have some things with them to cook and stuff like that, but obviously for that long is absolutely not ideal. But I did see at the end, the last part that I was able to catch, that they have, or many of them have managed to move on now. So that's good news.
Yeah, definitely. They're just one of a number of different groups of people that have been sort of caught in the lurch as far as this whole situation is concerned. Like I said, when really, really strict measures like these are put into place, it's going to leave a lot of people falling between the cracks. You know what I mean? And drivers are one of the many groups of people. Obviously, we talked about the delivery guys on their electric scooters are another group. We obviously had a video about them before as well. And so, yeah, there's just groups of people that are really sort of just falling between the cracks, unfortunately, given the situation and how it's going.
Yeah, I want to show you guys actually, because I think, Alex, a lot of people don't quite understand the severity of COVID-0, how strict the measures are. So I took this photo. I showed you this last night, Alex. This picture is outside my kitchen window. You can see there they've set up some tents and charging booths for the delivery guys. You can see, I'll try and zoom in a little bit. There are bikes here. There's Meituan and Ulama, some different companies. And then up here we have these guys sleeping in tents. That is because once they're outside where they are, not inside a closed loop or a controlled area, which is our apartments, maybe people don't realize that our apartments are completely sealed off. People just can't go out. People can't go in either. So these guys are basically out on the streets, which is basically limbo. They can't come back in to anywhere, including their own homes. So this is why they're stuck outside like this. If they want to keep doing their job, and it might be hard for people overseas to understand just the strictness of COVID-0. They're literally stuck outside right there. So actually, I have a friend who posted this photo online today here in Shanghai, and they said, surely there can be somewhere where they can stay. And somebody replied, well, do you want to let them stay at your house then? And it's like, well, you must not understand. If they could stay at his house, they could go back to their own houses. So it's kind of relevant. So it is quite tough to get your head around just how strict the situation here is in Shanghai.
Yeah, and you said it right. They can't go into any residential area or even any hotel or anything. They are really just stuck. And it's really unfortunate that that's just sort of what's being done. Anyone who is outside can't go in. Anyone who's inside can't go out. What they can do is they bring the meal or the package or whatever they're delivering to the gate of any apartment complex or compound, and they give it to the volunteers or the security staff there. They'll disinfect it to take any, I guess, potential virus off of the surface of the packaging. I'm not sure what that does, but they do it, and then obviously they'll bring it in. And then if obviously if you're in lockdown, then the volunteer staff need to bring it up to your door, and then if not, you can come get it yourself. But there's no contact between the residents of the buildings and the drivers that are outside, and so they're restricted from entering any residential areas, really.
Yeah, and it is really that strict, like you said, Alex. I got a package today, a courier package, and it was handed to the volunteer. People may not realize they can't come in and they can't hand you the package either because you're not allowed to cross. So what they need to do is give the package to the middleman, which is pretty much security on the gate, who is wearing full protective gear. They sanitize the package, which needs to sit there for 30 minutes before I'm allowed to even collect it and bring it into our locked off area, which is our compound. So it really is a really complicated system. And you can see the image there. Some people have said, because I posted this picture on Facebook, somebody sent me a message and said, why don't you go and bring them some cooking or give them a beer or let them use your shower? It's absolutely impossible because we cannot make contact in any way. And that is just outside my kitchen window.
Like if they could come into your home, then they could just go to their own house.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. People don't understand how strict it is and how much manpower is involved with making sure that we don't make contact with the outside world. And that is why we are able to say there are 3 cases outside in the community. Or not.
They're not homeless. They're not homeless. They have a place to live. They just can't go there. Like they're not like, it's not like a homeless tent city or anything like this. Like they have homes. They just can't go in, which is what it is.
And I think that's quite a difficult concept if you haven't experienced it to understand.
It's weird.
The manpower involved. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry.
All right, no problem. Yeah, it is weird. It is a very surreal, bizarre situation, but it's just that's the way that they're choosing to deal with it. So Again, these delivery guys and the truck drivers and some other groups are really just sort of caught in limbo, caught in the lurch of it all. It's really unfortunate for them. We kind of just want to tell their stories.
Exactly, and I want to show you guys one more thing that's kind of to do with this. Because I also posted, like I said, I posted this image, and also this image I made today, Alex. I don't think I've shown you this, which shows the cases around me here in Shanghai a month ago on the 16th of April. And then this is how it looks yesterday on the 18th. So you can see just how many cases have been cleared, and the severity. And people on Facebook messaging me, friends saying, that can't be true, because they just don't understand the effort involved in COVID zero here and how strict it is. It is absolutely the numbers, and this fall in numbers is absolutely correct. We're tested all the time. I had another 2 tests today. You can't slip past the system, and as you can see here, this data, which would in the West be considered private, you would not have a red dot above your house on a map in the West if you had some kind of infection. Here it's all public.
Yeah, so I can't see. I'm still seeing the photo of the tents outside your apartment complex, so I can't see the image. But so you're saying sort of the way that they're able to clear it, and the images and data, and when you employ really strict measures, it tends to eventually, it's going to get better results if your goal is to clear out COVID positives and positive cases, right? So obviously, the strict measures are driving down the numbers in ways that we didn't really see in the West, but obviously the measures are much stricter, and there's a lot of collateral damage that's associated with that as well. And so, and then of course, Andy said, I don't know if you heard, but him clearly, he said that, yes, it's private information in in a lot of other countries in the West, but here it's public. And so if there's a positive case, the information about where it is and where it's located is public information. And so that's how they can create maps like the one that I think Andy was trying to show us. We can't see it, but I assume it was a map. Okay, hold on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see the image though.
Okay, I'm trying to bring it up. It's just really terrible connection tonight, you guys. I'm really sorry.
Happened to me a couple of days ago. It seems to be a bit of a crapshoot as far as our internet bandwidth in our apartments.
I think this is what happens when 26 million people trying to use the internet at once. Actually, here we go. I've turned into a video. Let's see if this works.
Okay.
Has the video come up, Alex?
Not yet. Oh no, now we see it. Now we see it.
Oh, there we go. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So that is the image I made. The one on the left is 16th of April, which is about a month ago. You can see all the red dots are cases around me, and that figure, the blue figure in the middle, is me. And then yesterday, or actually the 18th, the image on the right is how many cases have been cleared in a month. You can see it's quite shocking, quite different.
Yeah, it's been the numbers have definitely gone down quite drastically. So yeah.
Sorry, you guys. I'm trying to really keep up with this. There we go. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it. Obviously, April 16th was sort of the height of the surge. We locked down on April 1st in terms of the entire city, although there were different staggered lockdowns, regional lockdowns, going back into mid-March or so. And then on April 1st, the entire city went into lockdown. By April 16th, we had really hit the sort of main surge. See, a month later, 18th of May, today's the 20th, and the numbers are down pretty significantly.
Yeah, it's really quite staggering. This just goes to show, obviously, whether you believe in COVID zero or not, because it has taken a mammoth effort to get to where we are, and it's not easy. So obviously, it's not for everybody. But you can see there that it, for the time being, it will work until the next cases come back. So yeah, we'll see. Alex, I reckon we should play the next video because I think the internet is still playing up a bit.
Let's take advantage. So our next video is about police helping out people at Hongqiao Railway Station. Hongqiao Railway Station is recently reopened with a few, not much fewer than normal, but still a few lines, a few railway trips to leave the city and go to other parts of the country. And we've seen a huge rush of people, presumably a lot of people that are from other parts of the country that haven't been able to get home, perhaps currently are out of work due to the lockdowns, but they're from another city, another part of the country. And sort of rather than Shanghai during the lockdown, or when their place of employment or business is shuttered, they're taking it. They're just saying, well, I might as well go back home where I don't have to, where I can, not be under lockdown and see their families. That's sort of what I'm assuming. And so, I know that that's certainly true for a lot of these folks. And so, in fact, there are so many people at the railway station that some people are having to stay there overnight or without accommodations. And so this video talks a little bit about that and how they're being helped out.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly add on that note, those people who are heading home from Shanghai, they will need to enter lockdown wherever they arrive to. So say they go to Beijing or Chongqing or Wuhan, they'll need to lock down for however long that city requires them to. It could be up to 3 weeks, hopefully not, probably 2 weeks or 7 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're still not out of the woodwork yet. But yeah, let's check out that video and we'll come right back. Okay.
机票有，
那我们等会
48小时核酸。
你48小时，你马上再去做核酸。今天做过核酸吗？
今天做过，就刚刚做过了。
啊，那等会我看看。
在那个什么那边做过了。
你那个地方，你去过那个机场，有个机场一线，你知道吗？
机场服务一线啊。
就是机场一线，在东交通中心7星路那边，你可以从这个地方前面就深桂路地道知道吗？深桂地道骑辆单车或者走过去都可以。深桂路到了那个7星路知道吗？7星路，我给你百度一下，你把手机打开来。
想等啥情况都吧？
是蛮多的，各种情况都有，然后求助帮助，那我们才能尽最大的力量帮助人家嘛。当前最多就是那些滞留，就是一种呢就是没有车票，就从小区出来没有买到车票就过来了。那么还得稍等啊，大人超，你到高架这边来，有一个人啊。他有机票，但是要去那个乘坐机场一线，那么给他带一带好了。啊，我在这边，在高架这边，你过来好了，好啊。对，你让他们7个过来，我把他们送过去好了。好啊，好，就这样，好，等我让他送过去。目前那个火车出发程呢，它是凭当天的火车票和相关的48小时核酸抗原检测码这个符合条件的，对吧？那么他可以从这个出发程这个离开上海。一般情况，我们对于一些当天呢没有持高铁火车票的相关的旅客呢，我们是要求按照上海的相关规定是要求劝返的，对吧？因为他这个不符合离沪条件。那么确实对于有些在上海没有一些临时的这个住处的，或者说来沪出差的，确实没有地方居住的，我们到了这个夜间啊，进行相应的这个给他予以一些安置，确保他晚上不会再露宿街头。那么安置也有相关的要求，对吧？有48小时核酸，加上这个抗原检测。符合要求的，我们新虹街道这边啊，提供了一个安置点，让他们提供这个住宿，还要包相关的3餐等等的。那么在这个期间，他可以进行相应的这个网上购票。我们对于一些确实持有第2天次日火车票的一些旅客呢，在 P10停车场有一个临时安置点啊，我们会引导他们到我们的这个安置点。那么里边至少有提供相应的热水，有卫生条件，还有临时一个休息，包括人家一些充电的需求里边都会有。
Wow, awesome stuff. Good to see the police there helping out, basically doing their job, really, Alex.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't imagine the headache of trying to actually sort of like the young man in this video, the guy here. I mean, obviously everyone in the police as well, but everyone trying to navigate the system of do you have your test? When was your test? You got to get the result of your test, because when you do the PCR test, you don't immediately get the result, right? It takes a while, and you have to find the system, and then you have to show it, and then you have to have a this and a that and a this and a that. And it's under normal circumstances, it's actually not particularly complicated under normal circumstances. Under pre-outbreak but post-COVID here in China, it wasn't too bad, right? You had to have a green health code and things like that. It was more restrictive than it was before, but it wasn't too bad. But now, man, it's really a runaround, I think. And so hopefully good luck to all those people who are trying to catch their planes and trains and trying to get onto their destination, whether that's in China or abroad, because I know that it really takes a lot of preparation and there's probably a few headaches along the way.
Oh, definitely a few headaches. And I also want to add, when it comes to the nucleic acid tests, everything also varied to the book here. So the test will last 48 hours. So say you got the result at 6 p.m. Well, 2 days later at 6:01 p.m., they will no longer accept you even 1 minute over the 48 hours. You'll just be rejected. There's no leeway whatsoever. So you really need to have ample space left in your 48 hours if you're planning on doing anything. You could be sitting at the Hongqiao railway station and have your train delayed, and it could end up pushing you into the space where you don't have a 48-hour test, which will be big trouble. So I really feel for these people. You can see them walking to the station. A lot of people have chosen to walk there because it is difficult. There's no public transportation right now. As we said before, that's not opening till Sunday, the 22nd. And if you want to get a car to the station, it could cost you thousands. So a lot of these people are either using shared bikes or walking there. So yeah, I really feel for those guys.
Yeah, and some people have walked as far as 20 and 30 kilometers. I've heard stories of people walking literally halfway across the city to get to the train station, which is wild. And it's something that in Shanghai you would normally never do. You know, one of my favorite things under normal times about the city just is the ease and convenience of public transportation. Of course, coming from the U.S., in the U.S., public transportation is not very developed. It's a country with a very deep-seated car culture. Everyone wants to drive everywhere, and that's what we do. We drive, and you have to have a car, even if it's an old, beat-up, used car. You know, people who are not of means also own cars, right? People who work at McDonald's own cars.
Yes,
and you know, that's the way it works there. And so here is so different, and I actually quite enjoy the way it works here, where, you know, I don't have a car. I haven't had a car for most of my time in China. Not all of it, but most of it. And so, yeah, you just take a shared bike. You can get an electric scooter. You can ride the subway. You can ride the bus. You can take a taxi. You can take a Didi, which is Uber. You know, and there's just so much to get around the city. So normally you could take that 30-kilometer trip if you live that far away from the airport. You know, there's so many different ways to do it. It's easy, but right now it's
so quick. Yeah. The one of the things I like to tell people back in New Zealand is, because even though I'm from the capital city, Wellington, for example, if you want to take a train somewhere, we don't have a subway. You need to really check the timetable, because you could turn up there, and if you've just missed it, you could be waiting 30 minutes or an hour for the next train. And not only that, it's super expensive. So you could, it's cheaper actually in New Zealand to own a car and pay the gas to drive somewhere than it is to use public transport, which is completely opposite here in Shanghai and China.
Totally. Yeah. Like I say, I would, unless you live in New York City, essentially, or maybe a few places, a couple of other cities, but I mean, the metro systems there are just completely pale in comparison to what we have out here, and it's just a place where people drive, and that's good, and they have the infrastructure for that. But here in Shanghai, you don't need to do that. You can really just totally rely on public transportation to get really, or at the very least, a private taxi or an Uber, or which we call Didi out here. And to get wherever you want at any time, middle of the night, weekend, doesn't matter. And so, like, having that not available is really rough for those who can get outside.
Yeah, but I can really see their drive. They really want to get out of here and head home, and I don't blame them, especially if they're from somewhere else. Yeah, and then they're stuck without work, without income, having to pay rent here. It just doesn't work. Hey, I just want to add, because Alex, you mentioned before on the first video, the Away From Home series, that it was very choppy. I just want to tell people that after our live stream ends, you can head along to shine.cn/video. That's shine.cn/video, which is our official website, and you will be able to find all the videos we've done recently. That new video is not up yet, but it should be up shortly. And in the meantime, you can watch yesterday's video, which is right here, as well as all of Emma Leaning's videos as well. So yeah, go to shine.cn/video, or just head to the main website and click video up the top here. Was there anything else we had to mention, Alex? I'll just check my notes.
I think that we have said it all that we had meant to say today. I don't really have any other comments or cheeky things to say. So hopefully we can see a little bit better weather tomorrow. Hopefully, I know many people are allowed to go outside. I have talked to several friends here in the city who have gotten the chance to go to a supermarket or to a shop or something like that, even though the vast majority of businesses in Shanghai are still shuttered because of the lockdown. There are a few select places that people can go to on a very limited time. I've seen a lot of different situations. Some people, they can leave twice a week. Some people can go every day, but it can only be one member of their household. Some of them can be outside for 2 hours, for 3 hours, and some of them can go when they want. Sometimes it has to be between A and B o'clock. It's really sort of a different thing that's happening. I suppose it is better than where we were at over the past 6 weeks, but it is really a baby step.
Yeah, I think for sure, we need to realize that's the case. It's definitely not going to be a quick turnaround. Things will just slowly gear up, and we will update you all about it here on our show every evening. We are pretty much here every evening at the same time, although sometimes we get a cool little note from our producer saying that we're having a day off. Unfortunately, we can't warn you prior, but if we're not here, that means we're having a day off. So otherwise, we will see you here. There was something else I wanted to quickly add, which was someone made a comment on the Shanghai Daily WeChat. They were talking about the Kuaidi guys downstairs from my apartment, just out my kitchen window. They said, throw them some food. Actually, that would be a no-no as well, because you're kind of cross-contaminating, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't even do that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but the rules are super strict about contact, and so I guess I'm not sure if you could give it to a volunteer or then the volunteer
sanitize it.
Maybe. I don't know. It's
a good
idea.
Figure it out.
I'm not sure.
Good idea, yeah. For sure. Okay, you guys, that's all we have for today. As I said before, we'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow. Until then, look after yourselves. Bye-bye.
Bye.